Today with Liz Hayes and Steve Liebman.
It was a fine day for a spot of boating. The Sydney to Newcastle offshore powerboat race was held in ideal conditions. Steve Ackery's Pink Cat took the lead and never let it go.
Welcome to Midday Australia. Today from Goldie Hawn comedies to Hamlet, the new look Mel Gibson. The Berkshire lass of homespun verse Pamela Ayres. We find out what deregulating the airlines means to you with the man behind Compass. Welcome high-flying bow wave of the blow wave Stefan, plus Bev Gledhill, comedian Bobby Dennis, Rhonda Birchmore and First Lady of the Musicals, Nancy Hayes. And now, please welcome your host, Ray Martin.
Thank you very much indeed. Thank you. Nice to have your company.
Welcome back. High-flying Brisbane hairdresser Steve Ackery, alias Stefan, puts a whole new meaning to the word blow wave. This pretty flamboyant millionaire hairdresser heads the world's largest privately owned hairdressing chain. But his real passion is this, ocean power boat racing. And he's pretty darn good at it. Would you please welcome Stefan? Welcome, mate. Nice to see you. Now, that was the weekend, the Sydney to Newcastle race, which is that would be the biggest power race in Australia, powerboat race?
Well, it gets the most exposure and it gets the most boats. And I guess Sydney being the biggest city, it always has the best of everything.
But, yeah, now you won this one for the first time?
Yes, it's the first time we've raced in this.
Oh, okay. I was going to say, why has it eluded you in the past? Now, what we're not looking at, when we think of powerboats, even things we see overseas, that is something special, isn't it?
It's very serene at the moment, but sometimes it's very unserene.
Well, there's yours, in fact.
This is mine.
Now, why do we need 4 people in a boat?
Well, it's very complex. You have at 110 miles an hour, you need all your wits about you.
110?
110. You need a person to steer it and a person to throttle it. In case, throttling a race boat is very important because you can trip it in. And trip it in means if you can have power on at the right time, you'll just drive it straight into the water. The last 2 years, there's been 2 world champions killed tripping in. And you need a chief engineer to look at the gauges to make sure that you're not going to blow it up.
Right.
This is a lot of money to replace, a lot of work to get it going again.
How much is it worth?
Lots of money.
But I mean, if I was to go, if all of us were to put some money together and go out and buy one overseas, how much would we be looking at?
Even all of you wouldn't be silly enough to do it. Now, you need a lot of experience. You need a lot of people that know what they're doing. It's more than money. For example, Kamalka involved in the aluminium, Detroit Diesel provide the engines. It's very complex.
How many
a lot of people
engines?
involved. 2.
2 V8s?
Spare, yeah. 1,000 horsepower each.
All right. Now, you mentioned the throttler, the bloke in the back. Were you throttling or driving?
No, I steer it.
You steer it, okay. So the throttler basically is, in a car we drive and throttle.
Yeah.
In this one you are simply steering and someone else is just easing according to the waves. You had good conditions on Sunday.
Perfect. You couldn't wish for better.
Would you have not gone out had there been heavy seas?
Of course we would. The last race we had, everybody, not one boat finished. And after an hour and a half I decided to call it a day. It was 50-foot waves.
50 foot.
It was just horrific.
So what happens to that valuable boat in 50-foot waves?
It's your neck that goes. The boat can handle it more than your neck.
What does it feel like? Does it feel like sort of dropping 3 or 4 floors in a lift at a time?
No, the back comes in first, and the back hits, and it's quite soft. If you don't get scared, it's quite soft.
Yeah. I suspect we probably wouldn't get much change from about $500,000 for one of those, Stefan.
More than one.
More than one. More than $1 million, okay.
That, I repeat, there's a lot of sponsors.
Okay. All right, now that's a long way from 25 quid for a hairdresser's in Longreach, Queensland.
Yes, it's a long way. But then again, with the boat, it's a marketing... do you remember its name?
Jaeger.
Jaeger.
Jaeger. Which is the name of...
Which is
coincidentally, you happen to have something in your hand called Jaeger.
This is for your wife.
For my wife? All right. Now that's, which is a day cream.
This is a day cream.
All right.
This is going to be a French cosmetic that all Australian women will be able to afford. It looks beautiful, it's a good product, and it's something that I've been dreaming of doing for about 20 years. a woman will be able to buy a whole range of Jaeger, 100% made in France cosmetics for about the price of one jar that she has to pay now.
Why does it have to be made in France? Why can't it be made
For
here?
the same reason Germans make the best cars, Japanese make the best videos, and French have always made cosmetics. And it's in their blood. They have so much experience. And experience is not something you can buy in a bottle somewhere. You know? Something is in your blood, and French are very good at it.
All right, how much is this?
This will be around $35.
$35, okay, for day cream. Now, I did mention Longreach way back when. It is interesting. I mean, it is one of those great success stories in Australia that you came out. How old were you when you came from Lebanon?
17.
Okay. And what made you, in your wildest dreams, think you could start hairdressing in Longreach, Queensland?
Well, I really didn't want to be in Longreach. The last place in the world I wanted to be in was Longreach. I'm sure this program doesn't go to Longreach.
It does. We love Longreach. We do. It's a great
But I have a terrific memory of Longreach. I was on my way around Australia, and I stopped in Longreach to have a drink, have a rest, wash the red dust from my throat, and the hairdresser of the town had left, and somebody, a guy called Speed, they said, hey, I own a hairdressing shop, and I don't have a hairdresser. I said, okay, you've got yourself a hairdresser for a little while. And he said, I'll give you £12 a week. I said, hey, that won't even pay for my hotel. So we settled on about $50 a week, or £25, and that was the beginning.
Now, what was the reaction when there wouldn't have been many Lebanese hairdressers come through Longreach at that stage?
Especially when you're dark. The fact you're dark, you always get this wog business, you know. I arrived in the hotel to have a drink, and this guy said, hey, what are you doing, mate? If I looked like you, you're on borderline, by the way.
Is that right?
You're on the edge. And he said, hey, what are you doing, mate? I said, I'm a ladies' hairdresser. And that was the worst thing I could have said. He said, you're one of those poof, something. I said, no, just a ladies' hairdresser.
But you got both wog and poof.
No, I guess if I hadn't have looked woggy, he may have left me alone.
Right.
I said, no, just a ladies' hairdresser. He said, no. And then it was on, and the Speed comes along and said, hey, stop it, Charlie, this is no way to treat a guest in the town, especially when he found out I was a ladies' hairdresser, and he was desperate for a ladies' hairdresser for his shop.
But you didn't have to fight your way out of it. You basically just went to work, did you?
Half.
You have? Really?
Half fight my way out of
Yeah,
it.
really. Okay, so how long from there?
No, only in that incident in Longreach.
Yeah. How long from there, though, do you then begin the chain and have the sort of success you've got?
When I was a little boy, I knew something like this was going to happen, because I remember in our village somebody saying this guy came from America and he had 7 shops, and I said, I'm going to have 10. And somebody made a smart remark, and my grandfather says, don't laugh at him, encourage him.
Yes.
I was in Longreach for about 18 months, and then I went to Maryborough, then Mackay, then Brisbane.
And how many do you have now around Australia?
74.
74. Beats 10, doesn't it? Beats 10. Now, do you think it could be done today? Do you think a young 70-year-old from Lebanon could come into Australia and have that success?
Yeah, but I don't want to tell you how old I am, but I mean, I didn't do it in 2 years. It's taken me 20 years.
Yeah.
And 21 years from today, anybody can do anything. Success is not an accident. It's very planned. It's planned and planned and planned. It's not something that just happens. I think somebody can, but they're not going to do it in one day. And I didn't do it in one day. I did it in a long time.
Yeah, sure. And you're not going to squander it away on this powerboat.
No, the powerboat is fully sponsored.
Yeah.
Really.
But is that a real buzz for you? Is that the thing that...
The powerboat is no different than a hairdressing shop. It's a team. It's getting a lot of people involved, and together you win, like a hairdressing shop. I mean, you said my first passion is the race boat. It's not. My first passion is training young people to care for clients and have clients come back to us. We've been in business for 21 years, and there are very few companies that survive 21 years.
But it must, that sensation of speed, though, when you're doing 110, it must seem like you're doing 1,000.
Yes.